Game 5. And if it goes to Game 5, that being lateral leg crest, I'm actually starting to believe a little bit in the Chinese Zerg, but one thing is for sure, he needs to pick up the first map, which is, as you guys can see, Prion Terraces.
This is an important map, spawning down here in the bottom right-hand side, of course. We do have our Protoss representative from France. It is PvZ Drogo.
And his opponent up here in the north, it is going to be the Chinese Zerg from Zenith of Origin, TooDming.
Best account ever, Zoo Will Till, why not?
Oh yeah, like the Chinese, they have different names when they play here back at home, in difference from when they play like internationally. I don't know why.
I don't know why.
That name is just giving me giggles. Nonetheless, though, it's a very interesting map. It is Prion Terraces, and interestingly, just going for a hatch gas pool. No crazy aggression coming out of TooDming. Meanwhile, Drogo going to go for that gateway wall off on the low ground into that probe scout. Seeing the gold hatchery, doesn't even care what else is going on. He just wants to check the third base, make sure there isn't a fast third base, and make sure he can deny that going down. Because that really is the natural Zerg advantage on this map. If they can get 3 bases up, 2 of them golds, it's a lot harder for the Protoss player to get down to their gold third base. So Drogo is just going to be looking to kind of keep in check of that. And if there's anything I know about him, he's probably going to want to put on some heavy pressure to throw TooDming out of his element on this Zerg-favored map.
I must say, guys, it feels great looking at StarCraft 2 again, you know. Brute War, it was cool and all, but a little bit confusing. And this is like, the graphics that I remember, and the numbers all make sense. I agree, of course, with everything you just said, Pick. You couldn't have said it any better. But it seems like, you know, TooDming is not overly greedy at first. He doesn't want to worry about any hatch blocks whatsoever, so he decided to go with that extractor. We'll start mining gas, and from this point on, you gotta worry a tiny bit, because there are a lot of builds that wouldn't necessarily work on other maps that do work on Prion because of that gold base. And just think of crazy Link floods, think of Link drops, think of even Link banes to straight up all in. And it's very important for Drogo that he has a good idea of what's going on, because if you just go one gate Stargate, and there we already see that Stargate being wiped in, you don't have that many units to defend against crazy aggression. So this is a little bit risky what he's doing.
I couldn't agree with you more, Roddy. I mean, this is going to this build delays his mothership core usually until about 4 minutes when he starts the mothership core. So if there is a huge crazy Ling flood, maybe an elevator, it can get a bit out of hand. On the plus side, though, look at this. Very fast Adept is going to start scouting, and then a very fast Phoenix behind that.
Yeah, but still, though, what is it? That also means he's going to have one less unit to defend at home against crazy Ling aggression. There we already see the Bane. It's going to be Ling Bane, because he went back to mining gas as well. I want to mention it, but, you know, while the probe was in the main base, he pretended like he stopped mining gas, like he was done with it. The moment that probe was left, he's like, all right, back to mining gas, and that Baneling is going to go down. I think this is very hard to hold. Like, I've been in this scenario so many times already, guys, because I'm never 100% sure what are you truly playing against. It is smart that he's chrono boosting Warp Gate, but you know, what is even the right call here, guys? Is it a Forge? Is it Sentries? Like, what is the right call?
I mean, you've got to see it coming, and without the knowledge that it's coming, like, reacting on the fly, it's going to be so hard. He's going to need to gateway wall off behind.
Yeah.
And look at this, no Mothership Core. It's just starting now, 3 minutes 40. He's got 1 Adept, no Sentry on the way, or 2 Adepts. He's not going to have a Nexus cannon, a pylon cannon ready. Like, this is brutal.
I don't want to be a party. I don't want to be a party pooper, but I think this one is game over already. I will be so surprised if Drogo is able to hold this with only a single Photon overcharge, only a single gateway available. Well, Tenchi, I don't know what happens in your latter games, but in my games, I just straight up die here.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely nothing he can do at this point. Completely unscouted. Warp Gate not even going to finish here. The Mothership Core is going to come in. He's going to have 1 Photon overcharge, but that's going to be it. Link's flooding into the natural second pylon, getting lower and lower, and more units on the production tab here for TooDming as we have units just streaming across the map. PvZ Drogo is going to try to throw up Warp. Pyro will actually stay alive so he can continue to produce. Warp Gate has now finished here.
Oh my god.
PvZ Drogo, and he's alive. He's still alive.
That needs to get back in the wall. Oh my god, he's leaving the wall open.
Yeah, but still though, that's an unbelievable hold. Why did he go for that second pylon with an Adept standing next to it? Not that much surface area. Those links, they should have just ran into the main base. I really think that TooDming messed up a little bit there. He didn't have enough links to follow up the initial bust. Like, the initial bust is good enough. And that second Photon overcharge, that's all he has. Just let him use that Photon overcharge, just run past it, ignore it. And from that point on, there is no more DPS in the Protoss army. But going for that pylon, I think was a big mistake.
Yeah, now look at this. TooDming is going to come in here for wave 2, but there's Oracle heading back home there. So, I mean, he's going to have to worry about that. But yeah, not being able to break through. PvZ Drogo is going to pick up map number 1 in this best out of 5. And, I mean, he's probably going to be feeling really good about this hold.
Absolutely. I mean, he opened up pretty damn greedy. That was a one-gate Stargate with a late mothership core. I'm even super surprised that he had 2 photon overcharges available. Was it 2?
No, it was
he
just
just
the
used
one.
one in the back,
He used
right?
it on the back,
yeah.
yep.
Okay, so this is a single photon overcharge. I really do think that TooDming should have just ran past it at first.
Yeah.
I guess he was trying to unpower the gate, but it feels like he got impatient. Just wait for a few more links, because if you bailing bust, then obviously you need enough units to run past it and really do a lot of damage. Like just running past it with 8 links, then fighting up 1 or 2 adepts, like that doesn't really make any sense.
It is scary. On the other hand, if you think about it, it does give Drogo time to re-wall potentially if you run into the main, but it's still a nightmare situation. As a Protoss, you never want, 10 Zerglings, 10, 12 Zerglings in your main base. They're going to run circles forever. You're going to need the sickest multitasking to get your wall back up and rebuild more units.
Even if he rebuilds the wall, he will not have any DPS behind it unless he completely sacrifices the main base, because he didn't have any units that actually fought. He has like 1, max 2 adepts there, and he has a mothership core that only has 1 photon overcharge, which he already used. So I think if you run those links into the main base, you pick off a pylon there, you pick off the probes that are available, you force units to come out, then also still defending the wall becomes very difficult as Protoss, because you've just got nothing.
I definitely think having an elevator overlord might have given him a little bit more confidence there to pull that off. Because, you've got to depower those gateways in the main. If the Protoss has 3 gates building adepts, you're not going to overwhelm that with, that meager Zergling production. But a beautiful defense from Drogo. And
Absolutely.
that's such a confidence booster. When you win a game where you play that greedy on a map which is very powerful for Zerg, he went for the 2-minute 20 Stargate. That's a big confidence booster. And a lot of the time a player like Drogo, a real macro, they like to open up with this sort of build. And if they get punished for it, they might pull back into their shell and play a bit safer, take a few less risks. But once you take that win on the Zerg map, that's such a confidence booster. I'm pretty sure Drogo right now in the booth is smiling exactly the same as in that thumbnail, because that's a good feeling, man.
Yeah, now map number 2 going to be Dusk Towers. So with this first win, especially in the way that it went down, I mean, huge boost in initiative and confidence here for Petite Drogo, and I mean, if he can continuously ride this wave throughout this series, I mean, I think it's going to end up being a fairly easy series, to be honest.
Yeah, I was worried for Drogo, man. He didn't look all that comfortable.
Looked really close there for a second.
Yeah, and he looked stressed, and then I like the build from TooDming. I actually think a bailing bust on this map is very strong. It's a lot better when you can get away with 2 gold bases at first, but it still made sense to me. He was hiding it. He played against a greedy build. I felt everything was going well for TooDming, other than the fact that he went too early. I think if you wait for a few more links, and then you can get stuff into the main base, there is only 1 photon overcharge, and he fought that photon overcharge till the bitter end, lost all of his links, and didn't even get the pylon in the long run. Just unfortunate there. Maybe got nervous, maybe choked a little bit, because that was as good as it's ever going to get on paper for your build.
Yes, sir. But here we have our first play in this series. It is going to be Zenith Origins TooDming, finding himself 1 game down already in this best of 5.
Going up against the absolute monster Protoss. Spawning here in the bottom right-hand side of Dust Towers, representing France and my insanity, it is Petite Drogo.
I mean, something we haven't really spoke about yet is that obviously there are a lot of WCS points on the line here again. And if you think about those WCS global playoffs later in this year, this is a pretty damn good start again for Drogo. I mean, yes, he didn't pick up the amount of points that he wished for at the Winter Championships in Poland, but after winning Leipzig, now being top 8 here again, and having potential to make it to the semifinals, maybe even go to the finals again, he's really putting himself in a phenomenal position for those global playoffs later this year.
Oh yeah, and the next 2 maps are his picks. Keep in mind with the format, TooDming had map pick 1. Drogo had this map and then Orbital Shipyard, his 2 maps. So right now he's thinking, hey, I've got a good shot at getting a clean 3-0 here, don't have to show too much variety. If I can just macro up on these next 2 maps, I can play the style that I love to play, because these maps are so good for macroing up, such good defensive maps.
And he's going to be able to block this as well. I mean, he's going to trick it a little bit. Oh, no, TooDming, he can go back. Because as a Protoss player, I can tell you that we're never that comfortable leaving our probe there all along. Because if you leave the probe there, you don't actually see what's happening in the main base. And sometimes you get tricked by Zerg players sending a drone down there, so you keep your probe there, but meanwhile you get 12 pulled and you don't have the right reaction at home. So I think Drogo maybe gave up there a little bit, but too early. But it worked out for him, as TooDming was now forced to take his 4th base as his 3rd. And look at the amount of distance that there is between the main and that now 3rd base. That's really not comfortable at all.
Yeah, I'm really curious about like Pig. I mean, if you're put in this situation, like the creep spread, trying to get to connect these bases, that's going to be really difficult. So if Petite Drogo decides to play for like some big aggressive build here,
Yeah.
I mean, how do you defend that? Like,
I mean, he's going for the fast gas and pull for Zergling speed, but like Phoenixes and Adepts are pretty much the early game of PvZ, right? So I'm with you there. I mean, I guess this is the better fourth base. It's closer by the creep, you know, and the Phoenixes aren't going to have as much room if he takes the fourth on the right-hand side, but it's definitely a bit of an uncomfortable position. What it tells us about TooDming's mindset is that he wants to take that third hatch. He is basically adamant about it. He's saying, look, on this map, I'm not letting you disrupt my economy. Like, I'm just going to have a nice, greedy opening, and I'm going to try and control the map with that early Zergling speed. So for him, he feels like he really wants to just play this set path, but actually going to lose a very early Overlord here to Drogo's Stalker, and that's actually a pretty hard hit to your economy.
He's not even going to see all too much either there, just seeing that Wolf Gate Stalker out first here for Drogo. I mean, what does this really tell the Zerg when you decide to open with the Stalker like that?
That Protoss is hiding something. That's what it tells you, you know. It's like, okay, why are you opening up with a Stalker over here? And there are multiple things you have to worry about. You know, you could potentially have to worry about a 4-gate or a 6-gate of a relatively low 2-base economy. But it could also be Dark Templars. That is an option. That's something you have to worry about. Or even a very quick Oracle. You got to worry about that too. It is going to be the Adept upgrade instead. And I do like this. Because if TooDming decides to skip the Roach Warren in this build, and with the way that these bases are laid out, right now it's going to be very difficult to have Roaches in multiple positions. I think this is very smart by Drogo. Because Adepts, with their upgrade, they're so extremely deadly against both Lynx and Hydras.
We see an Evo Chamber coming in on top of the Overlord speed. The moment that Overlord started getting shot by the Stalker, he chose to go Overlord speed rather than the Zergling speed first, so he could get the Scout down. But now also going for the Evo Chamber and +1 melee. Looks like we may be seeing a Ling Bane style, probably with Baneling drops mixed in and Zergling drops as the game goes on. Really cool, aggressive style that will lend itself to some multi-prong aggression as the game progresses.
Great scout though, and he's going to morph in the Roach Warren immediately, and I think that's a great choice. Because if you just have to fight Adepts with only Lynx, even if they have a +1 upgrade, that's great and all. But if there are 6-7 Adepts tucked away in your mineral line, you're never going to kill them with just Zergling. So I think it's a very smart and mature decision to drop the Roach Warren, regardless of the upgrade that you were going for, or regardless what your plan was all along.
Yeah, and TooDming needs a good cleanup on this. These Adepts getting a few Zerglings on the map for free, that's really nice for Drogo. Keep in mind that because he denied the Overlord early, because he forced the hatchery to be further away, and because Drogo, you know, he basically has just denied all these things in TooDming's build. TooDming's only equal on workers this whole time. He doesn't actually have any lead. So if these Adepts get any damage done, it's going to be absolutely devastating.
These Adepts will get damage done, man. I mean, these are 6-7 Adepts over here. A couple of Roaches do pop here, so maybe the first Adept is finally going to fall. Well done. Look at these Roaches, man. They just kept them trapped. Getting a lot of damage. Still not a single Adept has gone down, though. But there are Roach over here. Okay, this is really good for TooDming. Wow. Well done, TooDming. That could have gone a lot worse.
Yeah, he's going to clean up all of the ground units there. Back at home, though. Double Stargate on the way, or rather, starting to produce these Voiders here for Petite Drogo. He's got the third Nexus soon up and running. And, I mean, still, the economy for TooDming, only 41 workers at this point in time. He doesn't really... looks a little bit tilted already.
Yeah, I mean, he's invested in so many things that weren't drones early on, and I feel like Drogo has been dictating the pace of the game. He's up 13 workers right now, and look at this, a huge stream of Roachling. TooDming saying, look, you've forced me into these units, you've damaged my economy, I need to do some damage. But Drogo has the perfect read. These two Void Rays are going to pop out right as he arrives, 3 pylons at the front, enough energy for 2 or almost 3 overcharges in that mothership. This is going to get completely squashed. Yep. TooDming has to turn tail and run right now.
0 damage indeed. A couple of Roaches will get picked off by these Void Rays. This Prismatic Alignment was activated over here as well. Phoenix is going to be the follow-up. The only thing you can say for two, okay, that's nice. He's going to go for a couple of drop Overlords. There are no units in the position. I like this move a lot. It's a risky move, but he knew that most of the units were out of position. The Phoenix is a tiny bit late to the party. Phoenixes may find these Overlords, but not before Lynx will be dropped in the main base. Great move by TooDming, because he really needed to get some momentum going for himself.
I have to be critical, though. You know, most of Drogo's forces are at home. This isn't really going to do a lot of damage, and it's a one-way trip. You know, the Protoss is investing into air, which means you're going to lose every single one of these units, and he's not really going to get any damage done. So right now, TooDming needs to recover that economy, but he's just on non-stop unit production, and I don't think that's going to cut it right here. Drogo here is just controlling the map, shutting down the aggression, really in control of this game so far, and he's taking such a big economy lead. Things are about to get out of control if TooDming doesn't get damage done soon.
I hoped for TooDming that the Phoenixes wouldn't find the Overlord immediately, and then if you drop 14 Lings at once and you run them all towards the natural and the units were in the third base, I kind of thought there was potential in this Ling drop, but in the end it got shut down pretty hard and obviously made things even worse for TooDming.
Yeah, we're sort of seeing TooDming fall back here into this typical Chinese Zerg autopilot style because the first initial aggression not really working out there. I think game number 1 really made him uncomfortable, and I mean now he's been on a low economy, he's going to be losing even more drones, and I mean teching sure, but how is he going to really keep up it? Because Petit Drogo is so comfortable on these 3 bases, he's got all the production up and running, and
yeah, I mean, he hasn't rebuilt any drones in the last few minutes. He's down to 46, like he's taking worker loss. He's just massing Zerglings, and he's getting +2 melee and speed main technology right now. So I think TooDming's going to go for a huge attack. We see, 18 Banelings morphing. So look, what he's going to do is he's going to try to hide from the Phoenixes, and he's just going to make like a lot of Lings and Banes, and he's going to start dropping the mineral lines with Banelings, trying to potentially overwhelm the army. I mean, he has to make something happen right now. So it looks like just a huge frontal assault. Yeah. But even with the Phoenixes away from home, you got Overcharge, you got Void Rays, you got Immortals there. I don't know if this is going to do anything.
Oh, very worried over here for Drogo, that's for sure. Even though the Banelings do get good connections and the Lings will get on top of these units, but still, eventually this is going to get shut down. Look at the Pylons going ham, Photon Overcharge all the way, a couple of Zealots being wiped in, and Void Rays raining from above. Well,
everything just melting here for TooDming, man. Like, so much damage. And he's got the Lings left, actually. And I mean, Void is not really the best at cleaning up Lings. 2 more Immortals are going to pop here. Phoenix coming back home. But I mean, what do you do at this point in time?
Yep, there's just not really any finishing power over here. Like, these Lings eventually will get cleaned up. It's kind of a weird attack as well, right before +2 was ready. Not that I think it would have made a difference. You know, a cute Bailing drop could help. At least you could say that he bought a lot of time for himself, but where is the real winning game plan over here? He's not going to win the game with Roaches and Lings. That is literally impossible right now.
Yeah, I mean, Drogo's just a rock this game, and TooDming's washing up against him. You know, he's not really getting any significant damage done, and doesn't have a long-term game plan on 4 bases, but with such a low economy, so low gas count, only on 3 gases, even now at 9 minutes into the game. You know, he's just banking on these Zergling, Baneling tempo doing damage.
Oh, but he's going to get some decent damage done here with these Baneling drops. 16 workers full, natural lots of rolling into the third base as well. Nice swap in there from Petit Drogo to block off, but the Banelings actually not finding any damage there. A couple of Speedlings will stream into the third base, but still 2 more Banelings in this Overlord. Petit Drogo really fast on the reaction, so not going to lose all too much. Oh man, that +2 though.
Oh yeah, and that's so cute. Oh, that's really cool. And that's actually equalized the worker count. So the thing is, I mean, TooDming is the one player who's going to be comfortable playing in these like scrappy sort of games, but look at these Phoenixes, relentless, just ripping apart his economy. Every time he rebuilds a few drones, he loses twice as many to those Phoenix.
I mean, he did a lot of worker damage there, very well done indeed, but once again, there's no follow-up tag for TooDming. There is nothing that's going to kill Archons, there is nothing that's going to kill Immortals. I mean, obviously Lings can kill Immortals, but not if they're protected by Archons and well upgraded adepts and whatnot. Look at all these Lings just running head first into Archons, couple of cannons helping out as well, and look at the supplies, man. It's becoming a little bit sad. 124 against 81. This Ling drop does have a lot of potential to do more damage, but TooDming is going to need different units than just Roaches and Banelings and Zerglings. I mean, you can't win with this.
At this point in time as well, Petit Drogo, I don't really think he cares all too much about the probe losses, because I mean, he's still continuously building towards that really powerful army, because that's the main problem really for TooDming. Like, how do I stop Petit Drogo's sledgehammer army with my plastic house?
That's a really good analogy, actually. I mean, when you got that many Archon Immortal looking at you, you're looking at, what, +2 melee, no other upgrades, and TooDming realizes it. Does have to tap out, GG.
That's a very quick 2-0 lead for the French Protoss, and of course the next map is arguably the best map currently in the map pool for Protoss players out there, Orbital Shipyard. And I gotta tell you, man, if I was a Protoss, I'm up 2-0 in the best of 5, and I know the next map is Orbital, I truly think like, alright, this series is mine, you know, I'm moving on to the semi-finals. I don't see what can possibly go wrong over here.
Yeah, Orbital Shipyard. I know quite a few pro Zerg players have some nasty nicknames for that map. We see that one on the veto list pretty often. So obviously TooDming saying to himself, look, I've seen Drogo play on Arena. He's really scary there. I'm going to veto that map instead. He does now have to show us what he's got on Orbital Shipyard. And I mean, if we look at what went wrong in that first game, obviously the all-in attack didn't quite work out. You know, we assessed why that was. But this last game, I don't know, it just got very weird very quickly in terms of TooDming just didn't seem to want to rebuild that drone count. I think he just felt too far behind, being forced into the fourth base rather than the third. I feel like he almost already felt a little bit uncomfortable there, and then once the adepts did damage, from there everything just spiraled out of control.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, like, it's very common for many of these Chinese Zergs that they play off of the back of these 2.5 base economies sort of going, you know, like, sort of back in Heart of the Swarm, where you'd see Zergs drone up to like 50 drones and then just churn constant Ling Roach off for 3 hatcheries. It's sort of playing in the same way, and I just don't really see it working out versus the modern style here of Petit Drogo.
Yeah, he's just looking so solid. I think definitely they've got to, you know, TooDming's got to slide something in there. And I think we've got to give credit to Drogo, though. Really, like the Void Rays.
I
started those
it.
Void Rays, like the moment he saw the Roaches, he was like, you know what? I feel like there's a good chance TooDming just comes across this map right now. And they popped right on time. Like the Mothership Core and the Pylons are in the perfect position. It was such a good read from Drogo. You can tell he studied TooDming's style and he knows what to expect here.
I couldn't agree more. Like, if those were 2 Phoenixes, I don't think that Drogo dies, but worst case scenario is that he loses his third base on the low ground, and then obviously it suddenly becomes anybody's game because the 2 base Protoss against a low 3 base Zerg economy. I mean, Zerg will still have a couple of units left behind, you know, a couple of Roaches and Lynx will survive, and then suddenly you got to play a much slower game as Protoss. Either way, we are loaded into map number 3 of this best of 5. Let's see if the French Protoss that we're looking at right now can close this one out, as he was of course spawning on the top side of the map.
Ice TooDming down here, of course, on orbital shipyard. Petit Drogo's pick. And like, to be honest, like regardless, even if TooDming would happen to be able to pick up this map, Petit Drogo should still be feeling really, really comfortable. Next, like the 4th map, I believe, is going to be Ruins of Ceres, right? Which is still, I feel, a decent map for Protoss.
Yeah, it depends a little bit. Some of the spawning positions can create like very tricky scenarios, to say the least. You know, I think vertical becomes a little bit worrisome with like Ling
drops.
Yeah, like Ling Queen drops and whatnot. And even if none of that ever happens, you still have to always worry about it, so you play a little bit safer on that map. And then if you play super safe and Zerg just macros up, you're still behind as Protoss. So I really think that Drogo looks at this map, is like, alright, I'm going to close that out on Orbital, man. Let's just move on. I've already secured myself $1,000 this tournament, but I want to secure myself more. I want to get more WCS points. I believe they already all have 300 for making it into the top 8, but I think if you make it to the semifinals, you get 450, and it really starts adding up.
Yeah, I think he actually gets $2,000 for top 8.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
And if they advance, they guarantee themselves with at least $5,000. So this is a $3,000 best of 5, and I mean that's still very big money, even for Drogo. Even after he won DreamHack Leipzig, $3,000 for one series. Pretty awesome.
And he's respecting that opportunity right now. We actually saw his probe earlier on. It even checked for the proxy hatch at his third base on the low ground. Like, he's checking absolutely every sneaky play that he can. His probe here, seeing that it is a hatch gas pool timing, just going to do a little bit of harassment, and we are going to see that, 3 hatch into gas pool. Correct myself there. But he's going to see that, know it's a very economic play, and no doubt Drogo's almost definitely, I mean, in my mind, he's just going to open up Stargate, go into Phoenixes once again.
Yeah, nothing super crazy to open things up here on this 3rd map. Now, I really think that I want TooDming to sort of lean back a little bit, you know, consider his options, because he's been playing so hyper-aggressive. And Petit Drogo, I mean, he's just seemed, if we disregard the very first map there, I just feel that it's what he's expecting out of TooDming. He's not expecting him to play the slower game, so maybe that's the right call, you know, to do in this sort of situation when you're down 2-0.
I got to agree with you there. I think having great range as a player is one of the most powerful things you can have. Being able to pull out, you know, that complete opposite style. It all comes down to, you know, what TooDming's been practicing and what he feels strong with right now, though. Definitely, sometimes they can be the perfect strategic option, but if you don't have that, you know, in your pocket of practice tricks, you can't really pull it out on a big stage like this, or it's not going to look very pretty. Interestingly, though, we see that Stargate coming out of Drogo, so he's going to go down that tech path that he seems very confident in.
I'm a little bit surprised to see him send 1 Adept across the map. I think even when you want to go Stargate, it often makes sense to wait for 2 Adepts so you can one-shot drones and move around a little bit. And that even sets up your Phoenixes a lot better and will often allow your Phoenixes to do more follow-up damage. But at least this Adept is going to get a great scout off. He's hoping to find a drone or 2 exposed. That's not going to be the case. Once again, we do see Overlord speed being researched, which I don't mind that much. I think it's always worth against Phoenix play. But we also see that very quick evolution chamber. That gives me the idea that once again he wants to go at least for +1 melee. But maybe Zergling drops again. Just not sure how well those will play out, because it seems like Drogo is just pretty excellent in dealing with them.
Yeah, I mean, this is really common on the Korean ladder where TooDming, a lot of the Chinese players practice, is going for this fast overlord speed, but also going for the fast melee. It does slow down your economy a bit.
Yep.
So it's going to give him a really nice sort of timing around +1 melee finishing. Again, another timing when +2 finishes where Baneling drops can one-shot workers, as we saw in that previous game. But it does slow down his core economy. So if he takes a little bit too much damage from the Phoenixes, he ends up quite handicapped off this opening. Whilst Drogo on the other side is being very efficient, and he's actually, you know, cutting corners here and there. He delays his mothership core a lot. He's just making sure he's building his economy very smoothly. So I think Drogo definitely, you know, he's going to be the guy who's just taking that third base and defending. TooDming's going to want to start amping up the damage, and we do already see an Overlord loading up into a Dropper Lord, as we call it over there on the left-hand side, and the Baneling Nest and Lair going down.
I mean, again, I don't know really if I agree with this decision from TooDming, because again, like, how many drones does he have now? 49 workers? He's going to add in a couple more, but again, are we going to just see him, you know, powerhouse out a ton of units, try to go for it? And I mean, Petit Drogo, he's going to get all the scouting information, he's sending the Adept across the map and stuff like that. I mean, and again, we're going to have the same scenario like we had in map number 2.
Yeah,
oh no, nine drones, nine drones. There's a whole bunch of Adepts coming, he hasn't seen it. Oh my god, he doesn't have any vision on the map. He just spots it now with the Zergling going out, and he's got to panic. He's trying to build 12 Zerglings, but these are already going to be inside the mineral line, wedged between those gaps by the time those Zerglings pop. So this is damage he can't afford to take right now.
Yep. Even though the Adepts do not have the upgrade this time, they're still going to be able to pick up a lot of drones over here. We'll see how well this Overlord is going to be able to do on the other side of the map, but Drogo should be expecting something, because right now you're asking yourself, hey, why does this guy have 0 units? This time he doesn't even have roaches popping out. There are no roaches on the way. There's no roach warren. I mean, you could morph a couple of Zerglings into Banelings, but it's going to be hard already to clean up all those Adepts.
Even Queen's going down, but here comes the counter-aggression. This is where TooDming needs to make some damage happen. All the units stuck down at the front of the base. Those Zerglings are going to come and get a nice bit of probe damage, starting to equalize the harassment there. And oh, Drogo actually turning to fight with the probes. He's taking a lot of losses here.
Yep, this time Photon Overcharge is a little bit late to the party, and no defensive weapons either. Now these Lings with +1 are going to try to make something happen on the low ground, but I'm not sure. Oh!
Being very cheeky with that
Phoenixes are on the way to lift up those Banelings.
It's just in broad daylight there. There he goes. Going to clean those up. But look at that production tag, guys. A ton of Lings here for TooDming, and he's just going to go for it. Stopping again at around 50 workers.
Yeah, TooDming is just pumping these units out. Note, look at that minimap, he's only got 3 gas geysers. He's just going to be pumping huge minerals. You might be thinking 50 drones is not that much economy, but he has a huge mineral income right now. He's just got minimal gas mining because he's only using it for Banelings, +2 melee, Baneling speed, and the drops.
Yeah, I kind of feel that this moment soon, that might actually be the best moment that TooDming had all series long, even though I still feel that Pryan was a moment where things could have happened. This is very unfortunate. This one Dropper Lord is going to fly into 4 Phoenixes, but a couple of Banelings are going to try to connect with the sentries, and Drogo, well, he wasn't paying attention, but it didn't matter because he picked off the Banelings in time.
Oh, look at that. Phoenix is split on both sides, shutting down both drops. That is absolutely brutal. It's all going to be about the speed Banes rolling in the front, sending in just a few at a time, trying to bait out the force field.
Yeah, I feel he missed his window already.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing he can really do. Looking again, he's just constantly producing these units. The Phoenix here for Petit Drogo. I mean, he's being so efficient with these. I'm really loving this. Just so typical of him. And he's gonna see the rest of these units at the bottom of the round.
I'm not sure if he noticed it. Drogo trying to deal with these Banelings constantly coming in. He's got to feel a little bit like he's being pulled this way and that. But so far his defense has been absolutely solid. That Immortal standing out front, it doesn't care. It is ready to absorb anything that comes its way. Baneling sliding in the back of the mineral line. Gonna get a few decent hits, taking down a sentry, getting another one very low, but so much Ling Bane is going down. And the probe count is still up, 14 workers over the Zerg.
It's very well defended so far by Drogo. I feel often it's a tiny bit fortunate as well. Just none of his units are dying. They're all taking a lot of damage, but none of them are actually dying. A few Banelings going to try to make their way through, picking up 1 or 2 Zealots, but these Immortals are staying alive, super healthy. A Dark Shrine is even going down in the face of all this aggression. That just shows how confident Drogo is right now, as he still has a worker lead. He knows that his opponent can't possibly have a great economy, because it's nothing but Zerglings and Banelings rolling across the map, and Banelings are definitely not all that cheap.
This is really nice there from Petit Drogo as well. You find those Banes, and again, TooDming is going to get a decent wraparound, but it's still not really going to be enough. A couple of additional Banelings roll on in, but these Immortals still offering so much additional buffer. But as Morling's just streaming across up, is he actually going to be able to break through here?
Those Phoenixes killed all the Banelings, and whilst a lot of Protoss units are dying, the Zerg is running out of steam. Just the dregs of the Zerglings left over here, and saving the Immortal by picking up those last few Zerglings. Sick pickup by Drogo. You know, TooDming, he's still just building Zerglings, building those drop overlords. The Phoenix is coming out to see, hey, you're done with the aggression, right? Let's go counter pressure.
Nope.
Sees a stream of Zerglings coming.
How many gateways does Drogo have currently? It would be very nice for Drogo to have 1 or 2 extra gateways, because obviously Immortals is not the ideal unit you truly want to make against Zerglings and Banelings. They help out. Everything helps out in the long run as long as units are well protected. But a few different units out of the gateways would definitely help out a lot for Drogo.
Drogo did actually just kill 2 of the queens of TooDming down here, cutting his economy, or his production, I should say,
Dark
off
Templars
very short.
being wiped in, by the way. He can also use Dark Templars right now to defend. I think the first DTs may make their way across the map. These Zergling drops, no, actually all Dark Templars are over here. One of them does get picked off by these Banelings by accident, but this is going to be very rough. I mean, I love it. Phoenix DT, baby, all the way.
GG is called a Petit Drogo 3-0 in this TooDming.